Those synth waves are what gets my juices flowing on a Sunday night, everybody. The mothership has connected. Welcome aboard. It is your Sunday night party each and every week at 7 o'clock Eastern time, right here on every platform you could possibly imagine. We are on YouTube, so watch us on your smart TV. Zap it up to the big screen in your living room if you got a smart TV, or your office or whatever. Also, you can watch us on your laptop, on your phone if you want to, or on Twitter/X. Check me out there as well at Damon Amendo, live streaming there, and on Facebook as well. For the old heads, hey, you know what? My parents are on Facebook. They want to watch this bad boy. They can go to Facebook and watch it, and Facebook Live as well. So we have you covered, and I'm really excited about tonight's show. Super funny comedian Ivan Decker is going to join us. He's performed on Conan. He's been on Netflix. He also has a brand new special out called Popcorn, which is available right now on YouTube and other destinations. And we have had such a good run of comedians. Ari Shafir joined us a couple of weeks ago. Last week, we had Carmen Lynch. She's hysterical. She's been on Late Night and Letterman and Conan and Tonight Show. So we've hit it out of the park. Aidan's been amazing booking these comedians, and I think Ivan is just super, super funny. So he's going to join us coming up in about 15 minutes. Also, Champions League final is set, and we have not yet welcomed on my friend JJ Devaney from the Caught Offside Soccer podcast. If you've listened to me on the radio for a number of years, you know JJ's been my go-to guy. He's hysterical. He's savvy. He's smart. He knows everything about the game. He loves the game, but we haven't had him here on Watch DA Live yet. So he is a true FODA through and through, FODA, friend of DA. So we have to have him on the show now that the Champions League final is set coming up on June 1. So he'll join us probably in about 40 minutes or so from now. Also, a reminder, Q&DA is coming up here at the end of the show. Aidan, our executive producer, the Marquette Marvel, shoots me your questions, your comments. He picks the best of. So leave them everywhere that you are watching. They all get funneled into the same space as part of this chat. If you're watching right now on YouTube, you can chat alongside with us, and it's awesome. We have the whole family of the aliens here on Sunday nights. You guys kick back, enjoy a cocktail, maybe some food, and just sit back and enjoy the show and get to connect with one another. So we love that. Send your comments, send your questions, send anything you got, and we will pick the best. Aidan will, and shoot them by me, Q&DA later on in the show. Also, because the Last Dive Bar is now part of this mothership family and Watch DA Live, they're an incredible apparel company in Oakland, and they're all about the show. We're giving away T-shirts tonight. Once again, they've given me all these great prize packs. And so we got baseball's Last Dive Bar. We've got the Oakland Coliseum urinal as well. We're giving away gear. So make sure you send us your golden grams, which means what you're drinking or doing as you listen and watch this show. You can email them to us at watchdalive@gmail.com, or on any of the social platforms, send them there, and we'll collect those and also pick the best and give away some prize packs. All right? So let's do this. Let's get this thing started with F1. It's the topic A of the Furious Five. Let's do this. There you go. These are the guys. That's an old school hip hop through and through band, the Furious 5+1. And we begin with a salute to sports moms. It's Mother's Day. And I like to talk about what my mom meant to me because I think it's a story that many of you probably share. When I was growing up, my mom was an incredible supporter of my dreams. And my dream was to be a sports broadcaster. I didn't know where it was going to be. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just really wanted to do it. And she was just always there saying, like, if you believe you can do this, go attack it, go try it. And that confidence in what might be considered the impossible was always so appreciated by me. And, you know, I feel like now having a son myself, one of the things that I want to take from my mom is just that, you know, hey, you know, if you really feel like you can do this, I'm behind you. Let's go do this. But you got to work your butt off. And that was always the trade-off with my mom. It was like, I believe in you, but if you want it, you got to work for this. Nothing is given. So go after it. And that really made an imprint in me. And so I know that there's plenty of moms out there that either I'm talking to right now or listeners that have moms like that were just behind us every step of the way, even when the dreams might have been crazy. And, later on in the show, we're going to introduce a new segment called Sports Zen. And there's a picture that I saw this week that just really resonated with me. And we'll get to that coming up later on in the show. But it is a picture of a famous athlete on his grandest moment with his mom holding his hands aloft and her hand as well. And I just thought, no matter what it is with so many athletes and just everybody, on your greatest moment, you look at your mom and your mom having been there kind of pushing you along and helping you out and being kind of the support of the background. And so today is just about that sense. It's about that message that moms are just an amazing life force for us all. And they protect us and they hug us and they love us and they support us. And they also teach us to dream. And they're there for us if we fail, when we fail. And I know, my mom used to drive me to practice, and all the moms out there that are hustling their kids around to practice or hustled you around to practice or games and washed your jerseys. My mom, when I was growing up, every year, my dad, we would watch football all the time together on Sundays. But on the Super Bowl, he had a work show that he had to travel for. It was like a trade show for his industry, and it was always around the Super Bowl. So my mom ended up watching the Super Bowl with me a number of years. And those are memories that I take with me, and I always remind my mom around the Super Bowl. I'm like, remember, Mom, we watched Joe Montana's comeback against the Bengals together, just me and you in the living room, right? And she's like, we did? And I go, yeah, we did. You and I watched Doug Williams, the first black quarterback, win a Super Bowl. We were there together in the living room on the couch. You remember that? We were. Yes, we were, Mom. She remembers watching the Super Bowl. She doesn't remember those exact moments, but this is for all the moms out there. The salute to sports moms. We love you very much. Happy Mother's Day. And my wife is an amazing mother as well to AJ. So this is for her. This is for my mom. This is for all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day from us to you personally, from me, DA, to all you guys out there. Just what a cool day. Today was a cool day all around, and seeing the salutes from athletes and people in sports about their moms always gets me feeling good. Gets me feeling good and doing well, All right, next up. In the NBA playoffs earlier today, we saw an absolute obliteration by the Indiana Pacers, in Indianapolis over the Knicks. And this thing was over from the jump. And this is so interesting because we have not seen a game in this series that has been a blowout. We've just seen close nail-biter games that have come down to the end, and this was a complete blowout. And I wonder if we are seeing the exhaustion of the New York Knicks. Tom Thibodeau pushes his guys to play 45, 46, 48 minutes. Coming into this weekend, Josh Hart had played every single minute except 10 the entire postseason. He had taken 10 minutes off the entire playoffs. 10 minutes. He played every single game, basically, full on out. Jalen Brunson today, he's on a bum foot. He's getting no time to heal up, obviously. No OG once again. And just such a thin bench. I don't think they're going to go back to the Garden in Game 5 and get absolutely waxed like they did today. But it is no question an effect of how rough it's been to get here, taxing, depleting it's been to get here for this Knicks team. And it would not surprise me if we have seen a flip in the series. I'm not saying that we're going to see, again, a blowout win by the Pacers in 5 and then 6 and this thing is over. I think we got a great game ahead of us in Game 5. But you could be seeing where the first 2 games was control Knicks, now control Pacers, because I think the Pacers deeper, probably a little bit more prepared because their coach hasn't pushed them as hard as Tibbs, healthier, and the Knicks have had a nick of time type of DNA this postseason. And today was anything but. They were not in that game. They were dismantled, picked apart. And I just wonder if we're seeing the exhaustion of the New York Knicks. All right, I'm so excited about our first guest tonight. His new special, Popcorn, is hysterical. And he's been featured on Netflix. He's been featured on Conan. He has been awarded the Best Comedy Special or Best Comedy Album a couple of years ago. He is just laugh out loud funny. I love his brand of comedy. So we'll take a break, just not a break, but going to just set up our next guest So let's do that right here. That's right. He's Ivan Decker, absolutely hysterical comedian. He joins us here on the show. Ivan, how you doing, man? Happy Mother's Day to you and your wife, and I guess your mom as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Oh man, it's so great to be here. There was some nice things you said about me. I love that.
I mean, I'm telling you, popcorn had me in stitches. And one of the lines that you had in the special was, I grew up in a small town, and we had off of school if the farmer grew a big enough pumpkin. And I just thought that was such a funny line. And I'm wondering, you grew up in Western Canada, like how small was the town? And is there truth to that? Did you ever miss a day of school because there was a huge pumpkin that was growing?
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, back in the 90s, it's gotten bigger now. The town is called Ladner. Also for sports fans out there, I went to the same high school as James Paxton, who is a fantastic MLB pitcher, also from the same town as me. And my elementary school, there was a farmer he grew a big pumpkin, and then he had a whole bunch of little pumpkins, and he brought them in a truck to school. And instead of class, we all stood outside, and he handed us each a pumpkin we could take home to carve for Halloween.
How big was the pumpkin that
it was
got
huge.
you out of
I mean,
school?
I was a little kid too, right? So I don't even know. It might have been the size of a football stadium. Like, it was enormous. But we all wanted to touch it too. Like, we got to slap it, which is the best. The farmer was like, "Yeah, go ahead, you can do it." And so we all got to like line up, and with our little hands trying to make a dent. No way, that thing felt like concrete.
You have a lot of bits about food. And so I think that's maybe why I connect so well with you, and your special is named Popcorn, and the beauty of popcorn and the idiosyncrasies of popcorn. But you have a lot of bits about food, cooking, and shopping, and just food in general. So I'm wondering how much of your life revolves around food like mine.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, it's something that I focused on ever since I was little. Shout out to my mom. She was very into nutrition and everything when we were little. And so she always tried to, if we were sick or anything, she always thought that there was a food that would help us. She was very focused on diet and stuff like that. So I think it kind of got ingrained in there, and I started paying attention to food so much more. And then my first job when I was starting out in stand-up, my day job was I worked as a grocery bagger in a grocery store.
Okay.
And so I was spending all this time around food. So all my first jokes that I ever wrote were about like cat food and honey and just like weird. I would just be wandering around pretending I was like doing inventory, but I had like a little joke book, and I would just be writing bits that I would do at an open mic.
Tell me, what is the proper way to bag your groceries? Because nowadays there's a lot of self-checkout.
Yeah.
And so
thank God I have that skill.
Yeah.
I can impress my wife like crazy. I think it's why she married me. We bring our reusable bags. I set them up in the rack. I'm like, everybody stand back. I can do this on my own. It's you got to fill the sides with the heavy stuff, and then you can kind of build a little barrier, and that'll help the bag stand up. And then you can put the soft stuff in the middle. And then there's certain things like eggs, bananas, you want to make sure they're on top. But yeah, anytime you get cans, milk, those are your strong foundations for the side of the bag. I still have like pride. Like, I'll try and do it as fast as I can, and then look around at the supermarket like, pretty good. Nobody cares. I get nothing from anybody, but I like it.
I particularly like your brand of humor because it's clean. It's all observational about daily life. And there's been a lot of discussion about whether that type of humor can work anymore, or if you have to go way far one way in terms of being offensive. And if that's too much, what do you do there? And I think it's a real skill set. And so comedy is having this incredible moment. You're part of that, riding this wave of momentum. Is it a conscious effort for you to make sure that your stuff is family friendly, or is that just how your sense of humor has developed?
For me, it was always kind of how I wrote. I started comedy pretty young. And so I was always, if like family members came to the shows, I didn't want to have to worry about them seeing me talking about like crazy stuff I'm doing in bed or whatever. So I was like, I'll keep it, right down the middle. And that was always, it was kind of a fun challenge for me too, to try to have jokes that anybody could laugh at. Cause I really love the idea of families watching comedy together. It's interesting how comedy is starting to become quite personal. Everybody has their own thing. But to me, I think the best part of comedy is sharing it with people. And because of how much people send each other memes. Like if you see something funny, a little video on the internet that you like, the first thing you want to do is send it to somebody that's a friend of yours and share it and be like, can you believe how funny this is? So it's really great. The more people can watch me together, the better. And I just think it's so much fun to get to do that.
You're from outside of Vancouver, and there is so many funny people that have come out of Canada. And I always wondered, what do you think the through line is there? I mean, of course, you could just say, well, it's a big country. There's just a lot of funny people in any country. But I don't know. I mean, some of the funniest people that we have in comedy all time are Canadian. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's just like everybody's pretty funny. Joking around is like a big part of it. But I think there's places like that too. Like, I don't know if it's the Irish influence, like with Boston, like everyone from Boston's very funny too. But the east side of Canada, if you go to Newfoundland and Atlantic Canada, they're just, everybody's so funny. So the first time I performed there, coming from the West Coast, I was so nervous because I was like, I think everybody in the audience is going to be funnier than me. But they really? Like, appreciate it. They come up to you afterwards, they riff with you, and it's just like everybody's joking around. I think it's just a thing that we do to kind of get by, because there's a lot of like, I'm from a family of like farmers and carpenters and stuff. And so it was always like that kind of job site. Everybody's joking around and laughing to try to get by. So I think that's where it comes from. I don't know.
What kind of farm did you grow up on?
I was not on a farm. There were a lot of wheat farms around. My uncle had a cattle and wheat farm in Saskatchewan that I used to go to in the summer times. And that was crazy to see. Just like, hey, kid, you want to be in a tractor? Because you're like, yeah, that'd be fun. And then you're like, all right, this is it. And then I was like, oh, can I go now? It's like, no, we got to do this whole field. This takes 2 hours. And I was like, man, this was exciting for 10 minutes. But now I'm a 10-year-old trapped in the hottest. There's no air conditioning in a swather. So you're just sitting there like watching wheat get cut down for like 2 hours. I got back and I was like, all right, I'm not doing that again. Let's go take a look at those cows.
You have a bit about Thanksgiving and that you didn't know that you didn't have money because it was pre-internet and pre-Instagram and you had nothing to compare it to. So you end up going to somebody's house. I think it was a friend's house for Thanksgiving. And the bit was you knew that they were well off because all of their chairs matched.
Yeah.
That was not the case. That was not the case in your house, was it?
No, we had all the computer chairs. We had the like 2 different heights of tables with that dangerous tablecloth cliff that the gravy would fall down. One year, my uncle shot a goose and he didn't like clean it properly. So the whole dinner, everybody was spitting out birdshot for the entire meal.
Come on. No way.
Yeah.
Oh my,
People just had these little lead pellets. So like, it was like eating watermelon, but it was a bird.
How does wild goose taste?
It was pretty good. Yeah, I think I remember it being all right. I was pretty young. I was mostly trying not to taste metal. So anything that wasn't lead, I was like, all right, this meat is pretty good when you put lead next to it. By comparison, goose is delicious.
You said at your Thanksgiving, it was, hey, somebody get the computer chair. Grandma gets the computer chair. And I thought the same thing, like, my house also, the extra chair was you got to go upstairs to the office where the computer was, and that's the desk chair, the computer chair that you bring downstairs. Then somebody has a desk chair on wheels that nobody else has. That's the extra chair.
You were the coolest. If you got to have that chair, you can lean and stuff. But I was always sharing the piano bench with my brother, which we did not have a piano, but we had the bench. And then there's also like, I don't know why, but for some reason, every house in the 90s had those, they looked like a bar stool, and then they had these 2 stairs on a hinge that you could like fold down. And that was also very coveted if you were a kid, because you're like, I gotta be as tall as the adults and my knees are gonna hurt for the whole meal.
So you named this special Popcorn, which is available right now. 800-Pound Gorilla Media has distributed this. It's available right now on YouTube. You can check it out. I highly encourage it. It's about 40 minutes, so it's not going to take your whole night. It's just, it flies. It's really funny. It's really smart. So check it out right now. It's called Popcorn right now on YouTube. But you have a huge bit about popcorn. Why do you love popcorn so much you named an entire special after it?
It's just so good. I feel like it doesn't get its time because it's like it's one of those snacks that's like a given. You know, it's like ketchup. Like people don't really talk about how incredible ketchup is, except Jim Gaffigan, of course, can sell it to you. But for me, like popcorn is, again, it's one of those things that sort of floats in the middle ground. You don't think about it. You know, chips are always like the focus, but if popcorn shows up, you'll eat it. It doesn't even matter if you're full. That's how great it is. You could have an entire meal. Someone will bring a bowl of popcorn and you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to eat that whole bowl. No problem.
Also, as you point out, when you buy a microwave, there's a lot of buttons with numbers on it, but there's only one button that has a food on it. Popcorn.
Yeah. Popcorn does it. The other ones are confusing, like the microwave. I don't even know. It's like they have directions, all this. Like popcorn's great. You just put it in and hit the button. Other things, it's like the directions, even after all this time, it doesn't make any sense. It's like put it in between 5 and 12 minutes, I guess. Make sure it's on high. We're like, yeah, it's always on high. Nobody knows how to take it off high.
There is no low setting on a microwave.
Yeah, I've never figured out how to change the power level on my microwave. I'm like, oh, do you want the same food slower? No. Get it quicker.
I love also that you did this special in a very intimate, cozy place. A lot of specials, you'll see big stage, big audience, big arena. You're cutting to 1 million crowd shots. And for you, it was really intimate. It almost felt like the crowd was 5 inches from the sides of the stage. So why'd you choose that to be kind of the atmosphere around the special?
I really liked it because coming out of the pandemic was kind of when I was writing a lot of that material. A lot of shows weren't back to full capacity yet. We weren't doing the big theater shows that we're normally doing. And so I got to experience those intimate settings again and realize just how fun it is to be that close to the audience. And you're kind of right in there and it's very fun. And it also is sort of a throwback to kind of the origins of stand-up when it was in the discos and jazz clubs back when it was like low ceiling, red curtain, you know, I've got the suit on. It's just, the whole thing was very fun to get to do and recreate that vibe. And so that was kind of why I did it in that small venue. Also, I wanted it to be full.
Pragmatic.
Yeah.
Simple logistics here.
Yeah.
Amazing part in your hair. I'm a guy that parts my hair as well. And yours is really, really sharp. What's your technique for such a sharp part?
I have had it shaved in, but I don't really need, sometimes they'll do it. They're like, I can razor it in. I'm like, that's okay. You don't need to do that. I just spend a lot of time, you know, you got to get the comb in there and then you peel it sideways. It's like, you know, making a reverse sandwich. It's like butterflying a chicken breast. You really got to know how to do it and make sure there's a good fade. The worst with it part is when it starts to grow out, right? And then you get like this weird, like the sides bulge, and you're like, I can't do it. But it's because it sneaks up on you too. One day it's fine, and then the next day you're like getting ready, and I'm about to go onto a show, and I'm like, I look like a youth pastor. This is no good.
Traumatic, totally traumatic. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you on this. If you had to take one comedy album with you, and that's it. One, it's like you've got a year away in some type of labor camp. You can only take one comedy album all time with you. What is the epic, the ultimate Ivan Decker comedy album to bring with you?
Ooh, I don't know. That would be tough. I think one of Nate Bargatze's early albums, I think Full-Time Magic is so funny. That was his like Comedy Central special / album, and I love that one. Even his first one, Yelled at by a Clown. Either of those I think are great because I could listen to Nate constantly. He's just fantastic.
Incredibly funny. Yep, incredibly funny. Like I said, Popcorn is out right now on YouTube, and all of our audience can check it out right there. Right after we're done with this show, you can go watch Ivan. Anything else that our audience can check you out in coming up here?
I've got some. If you're in Michigan, I have a theater tour coming up there, or a theater date in Bay Harbor. That's in June. You can see the dates for that on my website, which is ivandecker.com, and or you can go through my Instagram page. I have a Bitly in there that or a link tree that shows all my dates, and there's a link to my special in there, and you can follow me on Instagram too. That's where I post a lot of clips and stuff of my jokes, and so it's at Ivan W. Decker, and then I'll let you know if I'm coming to your town.
I've linked to Ivan's Instagram on my Instagram, so if you guys follow me, you'll see him there. Like I said, check him out on those tour dates and the special. Incredibly funny. And you should have a pretty good summer coming up here worth of material as well, because summer's filled with a lot of great food situations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Grilling and hot dogs and pool etiquette and all that type of stuff. When you're eating, before you eat, how long you have to wait to get into the pool. That's all huge.
How come it never depends on the food? You know, like they're just like any food. Like you tell me if I eat a sunflower seed or an entire roast pig, it's still the same time. 30 minutes. Clock starts now.
How many sunflower seeds? More than one? No, you'll have to wait 30 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a half hour.
A single one. I want to see that. I want to see a swimmer in the Olympics just chewing spits.
Ivan Decker joining us here on Watch DA Live. Ivan, thanks so much, man. Absolutely hysterical stuff. Thank you for joining us. We'll have to do it again. Okay, man?
Yeah, absolutely. What a pleasure. Have a great rest of the show.
Right on. You too. Appreciate it. Ivan Decker joining us here on Watch DA Live. Really, really funny dude. And we had a suggestion of to power down to get like a lower level in the microwave, potentially just hit defrost. So, you know, maybe that's something that we can work on together, because I'm with Ivan. I don't know anything that gives me a lesser level of just the explosive radioactivity heat that is coursing through that box in my kitchen. It's like, put this thing in here now. And isn't it amazing also that in terms of a microwave, there's almost nothing else in your home that feels as spectacularly dangerous as the microwave, because you cannot put aluminum foil in there, right? And you cannot put a fork or a knife, or else all hell breaks loose. Like you're worried that the entire house is going to burn down and everything will short circuit. And when you get Chinese food or you get some type of to-go box, it can oftentimes have an aluminum handle or an aluminum bottom. And so you just can't, it's like Chinese food should just go from the fridge right in there, right? And I'm always terrified. I don't even know if I'm doing this right, if I should be terrified. And I love Chinese food. You know, my wife clowns me all the time. The Bourbon Belle is like, yeah, your favorite meal is like P.F. Chang's. I'm like, I love Chinese food. I love it. There's just something about it that I could eat it forever. But I get that, you know, that little box with the little handle, and it just feels natural. Just throw that right into the microwave. Oh, no. You better dump that out in a bowl on a plate, then put it in the microwave, or else the neighborhood's going up in flames. But Ivan Decker, really funny dude. Enjoyed having him here on the show. Hopefully you guys did as well. And like I said, we've had some really great comedians join us here on the show the last couple of weeks. So really good stuff. Appreciate him dropping on by. By the way, we have Q&DA and we have Golden Grams as well. And so with that, I want to remind you guys that you guys should be sending in your comments, or you can always email us as well. Just simply hit us up at watchdalive@gmail.com, watchdalive@gmail.com. And when you got that, then you can email us your pictures. Also, if you want to send it via social media, you can do that as well by simply hitting me up on any of the social media channels. That would be at Damon Amendo on Instagram. You can also do at Damon Amendo on Twitter, or as you guys know, like I said, the email address is open right now, and so you can hit us up there also. All right, time now for a little Last Dive Bar promo, because I am coming out to Oakland on June the 7th. Actually, the day before, June the 6th. But June the 7th is the Friday night game that we're going to all go to, the reverse boycott. And I'm so excited about this. And, you know, we started this show about 2 months ago, and Aidan and I have been workshopping this and kind of building out a team for this show, really since the calendar year started. We did our first live broadcast the night of the Super Bowl, and then kind of built up to where we thought we had all the pieces in place to do this weekly as a Watch DA live show. And what I was hoping all along was that this became all of my friends that listen to the radio, that listen to me on SiriusXM or have listened to me on CBS or follow me on social media or have listened to me throughout my career for one place that we can collect and gather on Sunday nights to kind of shoot the bleep and have visuals attached to it. Because I love radio, but I also love the visual medium. And YouTube seemed like such a great place to do this because it was so easy for everybody to join. It was free. It was everywhere. It's on your phone. It's on your smart TV. It's on your laptop. It's everywhere. And I said, I want to be there. And what I was hoping was that it built enough momentum and popularity to where businesses would say, we want to be part of that because that looks cool and that feels cool. And really, the first company that did that is Last Dive Bar. And so they will always be the OGs in my book and an OG to all of you guys out there, the aliens that care about this show. And they have incredible swag. They have incredible merchandise. Their Last Dive Bar, they're named that because they consider the Oakland Coliseum their dump. It's just like, I can make fun of that, but you can't make fun of that. We will take what people make fun of and we will use it as our strength, I think is the best concept ever. And so they're the Last Dive Bar, baseball's Last Dive Bar. So they have these great t-shirts that say Last Dive Bar and say Oakland Coliseum as well. They have t-shirts that are just the Oakland Coliseum urinals, the troughs rather, and they've just got really cool gear. And so we're giving this stuff away throughout the next month plus until I get out to Oakland. So every week we're just giving away tons of Last Dive Bar swag. So we sent out the first 2 winners this week. Myself, I got all the stuff in my office. Last Dive Bar sent me a ton of really cool stuff, and I'm packaging them up. I'm writing the mail, the addresses. I'm taking them to the post office, and I'm mailing them. And I think this is so cool that it's so grassroots. And Last Dive Bar reached out to me and said, hey, we really like what you're doing. We really like the listeners. We really like what you're building. Can we be part of it? And I said, absolutely. So if you want to win some of their stuff, send us pictures for Golden Graham. Send us comments as well. We're just picking a bunch of cool stuff. You can even DM me on any of my platforms. Just send me thoughts on the show, thoughts on life, thoughts on anything. And if I like it, I'm just throwing it into the pile and saying you're a winner as well. And so this week we gave away a couple of t-shirts, and I'm thrilled by the Last Dive Bar's partnership. I'm thrilled with what you guys have brought to the table, and I feel really good about it. And everybody that's winning something is going to get a t-shirt and a wristband. Okay, we get the Last Dive Bar wristbands as well to throw in there. And you can always go to their website and just buy whatever you want as well. It's lastdivebar.com. They're kind of like the momentum behind keeping the A's rooted in Oakland. And at least if they're going to leave, to make it known that the narrative that the A's are trying to build, that nobody cares there, is wrong. And the Last Dive Bar cares. And we have a place to broadcast from, okay, coming up that Friday. Myself and Bay Area Sports Talk host Damon Bruce, so 2 Damons, are going to come together and do a big, long show before we do the reverse protest, the reverse boycott, and pack the Oakland Coliseum. So if you're going to be in the Bay Area, I'm going to be there June the 7th. We're going to do the pregame show, and I'll give you the details on that a little bit later on. We give away some of these t-shirts. We're going to do a pregame show, then go into the Coliseum, reverse boycott, and have just the best time ever. And I really can't wait. And I thank the Last Dive Bar for being part of this. They retweet our stuff all the time. They clip our videos all the time. They love what we're doing, and they're badass. They're awesome. So I appreciate them very much, and I want you guys to win as much merch as humanly possible. All right, next up, Furious 5. Let's do number 4. Aidan, hit me with it. Number 4 here on the Furious 5, and it takes us to Minnesota, I believe. We got a little Ant-Man action here, and it's interesting. Even though Denver grabbed Game 3, and that's what a champion does, it looked like they were on life support, looked like they were running on empty, and they were just getting totally clowned by Minnesota. They came back and stomped out the T-Wolves in Game 3. did it in Minnesota to kind of swing at least some of the momentum back in their direction. They still really have to get game 4 because you go down 3-1. I know that you're going back to Denver for 5 and 7, but man, it's really hard to win 3 straight games against a team this good. But I will say this, no matter what happens in this series, the arrival of Anthony Edwards is here, and it couldn't come soon enough. I think there's a lot of people, myself included, that are getting somewhat fatigued by the LeBron, will he, won't he, how long is he going to play? Is he going to play for the Lakers? Does he play with Bronny, what have you? Steph and the Warriors kind of on fumes as well. Kevin Durant getting another coach fired. I'm not putting Steph and LeBron into the category of KD because KD's become kind of an embarrassment the last couple of years and all of the coaches he's gotten fired. But I am just saying there's a little bit of a been there, done that with all 3 of those guys. And specifically LeBron and Steph, no disrespect. Obviously, those guys have changed the game. They're all-time greats. And they've done everything the right way for the most part. At the same time, fresh is good. Fresh blood is good. New teams are good. New cities are good. They create a ravenous atmosphere. And the Warriors were this once. Once upon a time, before the Splash Brothers were the Splash Brothers, that was a city, Oakland and Oracle, that was just incredible. And they never had a great team, but it was an incredible atmosphere. And they were so hungry for a winner. And the Splash Brothers come along and Steph starts to do what he does. And it was like, oh, this is interesting. I mean, this city's on fire. That fan base is so thirsty for a winner. And now the Warriors are doing what they're doing. This is cool. The Wolves can be that. The Thunder can be that. But specifically taking the mantle of a guy that you cannot take your eyes off of, it's Anthony Edwards. Because his play is so dynamic. It's so explosive. His style is just so aesthetically pleasing. It's attacking the rim. It's also a mid-range game. It's end-to-end. It's on defense as well. He has no ego, and so he likes when his teammates get involved and get attention, but also he likes to be the man, and it's a hard balance to strike, really hard. And a lot of people that have been kind of tuned into basketball have loved Anthony Edwards for a while, but he hasn't been on a big national stage yet. And now he's finally here, and I feel like this postseason has been the Ant-Man's coming out party. I've talked about this the last couple of years. My favorite player growing up in the NBA was Dominique Wilkins. I loved, as the human highlight reel, I loved those Hawks jerseys. I love that he was just like a slam dunk champ. I love that he could do that windmill and everything that he did. He just like attacked the rim with such viciousness. And he was from a non-traditional power. Like nobody thought of the Hawks as a great team. I love that about them. And I think that Ant is kind of doing the same thing. Now, the T-Wolves might become a great team where the Hawks never were, but Edwards would have been 10-year-old DA's favorite player in this NBA, the same way Neek was my favorite player when I was 10. So I think this is a pretty cool coming out party, even if they did get slammed in game number 3. All right, next up, number 5, four or five. What do we? I don't even know what we're at here at this point. I'm kind of losing track. I think we're at number 4. Aidan slapped this up. Oh yeah, the Utah Yeti. That's right. So the Utah hockey team is now going to put out for a fan vote the top 20. They have the top 20 suggestions, and they're trying to whittle it down. And they've got this now to 20, and you vote for 4. And look, there's some good ones, and I put together a whole DA deep dive earlier this week on all of these names. You can check that out on this YouTube channel if you want to go through this piece by piece, name by name. But I came down to 3 that I thought were really cool. I thought that the Utah Swarm was really cool because of the bee connotation, because it's the beehive state, and because bees are agile and they can be vicious and they can sting you, and they come in swarms. And I just thought the metaphors and the branding could be really awesome. But then somebody reminded me in the comments, the minor league baseball team is the Salt Lake City Bees. So probably you wouldn't have a swarm and a bees in the same city. I don't know. I thought that, there was a bunch of like weather related names, the frost and the ice and all the glaciers and stuff like that. And I thought there was some cool stuff there, namely the Utah frost. At the same time, it's a little hard to conceptualize what that's going to look like. And so I think, and weather-related stuff like the lightning, like the heat, like the avalanche, I don't know if they necessarily age all that well. It feels very 80s and 90s. So I found the Utah Yeti to be the best one. And I just loved how melodic it sounded, the Utah Yeti, the Yeti of Utah. And I still think the mascot could be amazing. The logo could be amazing. And I just went to a quick AI, image generator that I have to create a pseudo logo. And they were awesome. And I put them together as part of this YouTube video. So you can check those out. So I think the Utah Yeti is the winner. I love the idea of like a mythological creature that could be indigenous to the state of Utah. Where would you go to find a Yeti? Definitely the snow-capped mountains of Utah. At the same time, I did not remember this. This stuck a little monkey wrench into the works. The Colorado Avalanche, I knew that their secondary logo on their arm was a big foot. But I thought you could get past that. I did not remember that there was a Yeti as their mascot the first 3 years they were in Colorado. And then there was some type of mascot incident and they did away with it. And so now it's a dog. It's like a bloodhound or something. So I don't know. Can you name your team in a bordering state of the same sport, the Yeti, when the mascot of the Avalanche, who would definitely be your rivals, were once the Yeti? I don't know. That gave me pause. I still like it best, but now I have to recalibrate. If you have thoughts on this, definitely leave them here. Check out the video, my DA deep dive for this week. All right, finally, we'll do number 5 right here. Number five on the Furious 5 once again. And I want to just say that the passing of A.J. Smith is notable. He was a Chargers executive because A.J. Smith orchestrated the Eli Manning trade and got Phillip Rivers in return. That's a big one. But also fired Marty Schottenheimer for Norv Turner. And I know that Marty had a penchant for losing big games, flaming out in the playoffs. Marty was the head coach of the Browns in 86 when Elway did him in with the drive. He was the Browns head coach in 87 when Ernest Biner fumbled on the goal line. He was the head coach of the Chiefs throughout the 90s when they could not win a playoff game. And he was the head coach of the 07 Chargers, who went 14-2. LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, what have you, or 06, 14-2, and lost in their first playoff game to the Patriots on the Marlon McCree fumble. And he got the zig 1 year and done. And I always thought that was a mistake. And they hired Norv, and Norv took him to the AFC title game the next year, remember? And they lost to the Patriots in a frigid Gillette Stadium. That was the year where both LaDainian Tomlinson and Phillip Rivers were injured. LDT did not play. Rivers was on like a busted ACL. So who knows what happens if they're healthy. But I think that Schottenheimer deserved more than that 1 year. And I think that would have changed potentially his narrative as a head coach, that the guy that couldn't win in the playoffs, because that Chargers team was just stacked, incredibly stacked. And Norv had some talent or some success, but also never got to a Super Bowl and also never won the big games. And I think Marty, with that talent, they needed with that talent a guy that was a stickler for detail like Marty. And honestly, if Marlon McCree just falls down, they go to the AFC Championship game, and I don't think Marty gets fired. And I just always felt like that firing doomed the rest of his career and his legacy, and it didn't have to be that way. And I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead. AJ Smith just passed away, but I do think that decision altered the Chargers' history, Marty's legacy, and Rivers and LT as well, because those guys never got to a Super Bowl, and those Chargers teams were stacked. All right, that's your Furious 5. Time now for our next guest. I'm so excited to welcome on my friend, JJ Devaney. Let's do this, Aidan.
Foda.
My man, Foda. You are Foda.
Foda.
F-O-D-A, friend of DA. You've been part of the show for many, many years. Every time I had a soccer question, a soccer conversation, you had to come on. You are one of the co-hosts of the Caught Offside Soccer Pod. And it's just a tremendous listen. And I love your soccer brain, but you're also a great sports mind with a lot of sports. And you're also a newly minted.
Yeah, it's Sunday night. I can't be buttered up like this. It's too much. It's far too much.
Well, oh,
look how fat
this.
my head is as well. And your little Chiron. Oh Lord.
And look at my lights are going in and out. This is something else.
Don't look behind me because I had all my soccer memorabilia in some kind of order. And now it's just a mess, a total mess. Getting documents together for something, it all got messed up. And then, now I'm here, and you're in a very, very kind of neat, artistic, Andy Warhol style studio.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the ball to you, and you're going to take it and run with it for about 60 seconds because I'm going to have to fix this light. Okay.
Oh, right. So now I'm hosting your show.
So now
I'm not even getting a fee for this. So I'm hosting. Oh, come on.
So we're going to start here, JJ. You give me, if you were doing a non-soccer pod today, okay, right. This could be a Giants take. You're a huge Giants fan. It could be an NBA playoffs take. Could be a Stanley Cup playoff. I don't care. Give me your lead story in a non-soccer pod today.
I didn't see the game, but my lead story would be the Knicks. Concerning blowout against the Pacers in Indiana. And what does that mean going forward? Are we reaching the point where this team, which I would say personally, I don't think has a ton of depth, but has had starring performances from key pieces, is now running out of road? Is it running out of diesel? And that would be the worry going forward, that they powered through the first two games of this series, and now it's tied 2-2, and it's maybe just is this have they hit the buffers? And I would lead with that, because you go out in the streets, DA. I saw this in 2015 where it was overnight Mets hats just grew up from out of the ground,
right?
And people picked them up and put them on. But there is a genuine buzz amongst what's been such a beleaguered fan base for since probably the best part of 25 years. And now there was so much hope in the first series. There's been so much hope across the first two games of this series against the Indiana Pacers, that I would hate for the town to lose the buzz. And that's what I'm terrified about, that today was hang on. Now, it could be just a case this team has been run to its absolute limits for now. It needs a break. It needs to reset. And that the Pacers were due a big game, a big performance. Maybe it's that, but that was concerning result tonight from what I heard.
Anybody that's been part of a town, a city that had a sports team go deep into the playoffs when it was the first time it's happened in a long time, or if it was unpredicted, knows this thing where the entire city goes, is it going to happen again? Is this finally our year? What is going on? It's so new. And rarely do you get two teams simultaneously that do that. And so it's so intoxicating. Boston right now has the Bruins and Celtics. New York right now obviously has the Knicks and Rangers. Denver has the Nuggets and Avs. And when two teams are simultaneously in basketball and hockey making runs, it's like you're drunk all the time, because every night it's oh my God, it's happening again. Let's do this. Let's party. Oh my God, it's happening again. Let's do this. Let's party. And everybody is on fire.
If you don't go out,
right?
You're getting FOMO if you don't go to the bar. You're organizing your days around it. And so it's Ranger shirts everywhere. Guys, literally, I saw a guy yesterday with this massive Rangers tattoo that he's had for God knows how long. And he's had it was lovely weather, but sleeveless shirt. The two other people he was with wearing Rangers gear, Knicks gear everywhere. I love this because I haven't seen that much of it really since I moved here. So it's great to see it, and you don't want it to end. You do not want it to end.
It is intoxicating, really. I mean, I can't remember the last time an entire city was saying, what time's the Knicks game? Because they've been such trash for so long. It's like, when do they play again? When do they play again? All right, so let's talk about this Champions League final here, because
you're doing an early preview here now, DA, because the final is until June 1st. But
June 1.
We just had the semifinals, so it's fine. Why am I producing your show now?
I don't know. Why you step it all over my questions here?
A guy called Aidan in the background. Is that just you as well? Do you call yourself Aidan as well?
No, we have the budget to now have an executive producer. So I will tell you, we got big things cooking around here.
Hey, listen, I believe it. Except that light bulb.
No, I fixed it. Although the listeners, the viewers, the DA-leagues were saying I was at a rave, so I just need my glow sticks. Do
you think Dan Patrick is fixing his own light bulbs?
No. See, I'm the working man's host. That's right. I'm doing this on a Sunday night for free. Okay.
Fantastic. Hey, you're putting the grind in.
You think Cowherd and Patrick and those guys are working their ass off for free on a Sunday night? No chance. We're putting in the hours.
No.
So a crazy match to set up this Champions League final between Real Madrid and just a nutty game the other night with Bayern Munich. And at the end, controversial comeback, offsides, no offsides, video review, etc. Do you think the refs screwed Bayern Munich?
Well, I was apoplectic because I bought into Munich going through. I love the way that they were kind of Real Madriding Real Madrid. They were keeping them at bay. It looked as if it was winding down, and there was enough time for Real Madrid to get back into it, and they did. But I wanted it to go into extra time. Like I said, I was apoplectic, but my colleague Andrew Gundling talked me down, and he did point out the referee blows the whistle, which is the mistake. He should let that play develop. But once he blows it, it's done. It's dead. And it did materially impact the Real Madrid defenders who stopped. So we don't know if the goalkeeper might have pulled off a save, if Lunin might have saved from De Ligt. We don't know how the defenders would have reacted had the whistle not been blown. The mistake was the whistle being blown. But once that happens, DA, it's like the voice of God. It's done. And it was a real shame that the referee did that. And it was a real shame the linesman put his flag up. But I'm not going to say Bayern Munich got screwed on that. It really came down for me. The guy who was standing on his head, who had an outstanding performance, was the Bayern Munich goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer. He was keeping everything out. And then what you would describe as a basic handling error allows Joselu to score. And the inevitable was on its way with Real Madrid.
What is it about Real's home field advantage, their stadium, that creates these types of insane comebacks and magical moments? Because no matter what they believe, no matter how much they're down, that there's some type of mysticism going on in that stadium that they will find a way to win.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I've delved into the occult to try and find reasons for this. I suggested this concept of residual energy, that a club can just carry the energy of previous triumphs forward and propel it when needed in a game, which is total effing nonsense. It makes no sense. Look, they play well. They can do this kind of thing outside of that building as well. I saw it in Paris, where Courtois stood on his head in goal for them in the Champions League final in 2022, and Liverpool didn't win. Somehow did not win. So they've been doing this for a while now. In fact, even when Ronaldo was with them, they pulled off results that they shouldn't have pulled off, considering the way the games were going, the way the games were developing in so many big games. Do you know what it comes down to, DA? It comes down to that if you've got really good players and a little bit of sports luck, you have an opportunity, and they take the opportunity every single time. And that's just it, really. They have very, very good footballers. And, they have the depth to be able to bring on Luka Modric, who's not a guaranteed starter for them anymore. And this guy can pick locks, can unlock defenses, can do amazing things. It's probably just about having really good players.
Give me your early preview of Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League final coming up June 1st.
By the time we get there, and I think already Vegas are making Real Madrid unbackable favorites. You've got Borussia Dortmund who are fifth and lost today in the Bundesliga with a kind of a changed team. They're not going to be anywhere in the bookies' thoughts. It'll be Real Madrid as favorites. Borussia Dortmund are an amazing story. Like, they've had a fairly wretched domestic season, or not a good one, and yet they've come up with these amazing performances, keeping PSG and Kylian Mbappe scoreless across 180 minutes in a Champions League semi-final is incredible. They come in as the firm underdogs. I want to believe that we can see something special here from, like, I told Andrew, my co-host, I was hoping there'll be like some late Marco Reus winner off the bench to score in his final game for Borussia Dortmund, a Borussia Dortmund hero, or maybe a Füllkrug header or Mats Hummels goal, something like that. I think it's going to be Real Madrid. I don't think they'll blow them away. I think Dortmund have found a way to be compact and hard to beat, as they proved against Dembele and Mbappe and Vitinha. But God, it's so hard to bet against Real Madrid. Again, this is their competition. Imagine their domestic competition in Spain it is not their competition in the same way the Champions League is. So it's hard to look at this early stage. Things can happen, injuries can happen. At this early stage, it's looking like Real Madrid. I would love it to be Borussia Dortmund, who are just a great story and a club that's always been a selling club. They've always had to get rid of their talent. It's either gone to Bayern Munich in the case of Robert Lewandowski so many years ago, or the case of Jadon Sancho, who's now come back from Manchester United after being bought by Manchester United. He's come back on loan. He's doing these amazing things for them. So the romantic in me wants Borussia Dortmund. The cold-hearted analyst says Real Madrid, unfortunately.
Tell me why Man City's dominance in the Premier League, speaking of the Premier League, is not embraced. What is it that just does not resonate with a lot of fans?
The first point is that a lot of fans just feel as if it's been bought. If you buy a Ferrari, DA, and it does 150 miles an hour on the turnpike, which you shouldn't do, but if you do it, that's what the car is built to do. That's what you paid the money for. And the sense is that Manchester City, through being owned by a nation state, the United Arab Emirates, have bought a club that was, they've come in, they've bought Manchester City, and they've made it into this machine that should win. And it is winning. It's got the best manager in the world. It's got the best infrastructure, and it buys the best players. So it's just doing what it's supposed to do. And that's just cold. People don't respond to that. They don't find that interesting. They won a treble last season. Who is talking about it anymore? Nobody. Nobody cares.
So it would be a little bit like if the Dodgers just started stacking World Series after World Series after World Series. They spend the most money. They've got the best farm system. They're winning World Series. And it'll be like, this is kind of boring.
Well, yeah. And it's a bit like LeBron's attitude to winning with the Heat. Like, he knew when he went to South Beach and they put together that team, he was supposed to win. And so when he won, the next thing on his list was, well, I got to win with a hometown team for whom this will be a story. This will mean something. This wasn't bought. There's also 115 charges by the Premier League against Manchester City for essentially, and I'll break it down. I'm not going to read all 115. That would be some great Sunday night listening. But for essentially cheating, or not cheating, lying about not being upfront about where their money has come from and sponsorship, etc. So there's this sense that A, it's been bought, and B, it's even when it's bought, it's been done unfairly. And so people can't get behind that. And also, in fairness to Manchester City, this was a team that was relegated regularly sent to the second tier of English football. Not a big club. So they're bought by a nation state. They're supercharged. They haven't had time to build a fan base big enough that people care. Like when Liverpool win, there's parts of Africa, Asia, America who rejoice in that because they've got decades of success. Manchester United too. Manchester City don't have that, and therefore it's hard for them to resonate. As much as they try, it's like turning a minor league team into the San Francisco Giants in the space of a decade. I mean, it's just hard to build the history that other clubs have, and it's a problem for them. And by the way, they do have a good history in and of itself. It's a good history, but it's been supercharged by oil money for the last 12, 15 years.
Let me wrap up with this. What's your feelings on Wrexham? Because you have Ryan Reynolds stepping in and celebrity owners, and they built a Netflix show around this. And so now casuals are into fourth tier, third tier English soccer. And it's an amazing story. It's very interesting, but it is very much a Hollywood splash on it. So what's your thinking on it, good or bad for the sport?
So there's two ways to look at it. The first thing that makes me say good is that this is a working class town. They changed their own light bulbs in this town. This is, and a team that was kind of a sleeping giant for years. I remember them beating Arsenal in the Cup in 1992. And they've been revitalized, and it's a good story, but they've been given access to money that the teams around them, certainly when they were in non-league in the fourth tier, were not able to get access to. And so straight away, that's a sort of financial doping. So I don't like the aspect of the money being pumped in, but you watch the documentary and it's really, really good. And I've decided to maybe like temper my take on the money, just relax a bit about it and just say, it's good that a light is being shone down the pyramid on League Two, on League One, where they'll be next season, and probably they'll be in the championship the following season. Now, is it a good example to say to Americans with plenty of money, come in here, buy a small team, and then you can bring them all the way to the Premier League? I don't know if I love that concept. I would like some kind of evenness and egalitarianism amongst all the teams to make these teams sustainable, because in other cases that aren't Wrexham, Damon, there's like clubs like Bolton and Bury who went out of business, who, really pumped money into their club and it was not financially sustainable. Is Wrexham financially sustainable without Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney? No, it's not. I would like sustainability. I would like these clubs to be on a level where the money they put in is money that they can generate through revenue, and they don't need Aviation Gin or United Airlines, like United Airlines sponsoring Wrexham. When I see that stuff, I do roll my eyes, because I want an equal playing field, and that's not equal. But in terms of shining a light on the lower leagues, which is just so great, that's brilliant. So there, I haven't really answered the question. I've said it's good. I've said it's bad.
No, but that's fair. There's two sides to this. Yeah, which what makes this an interesting story, which is I knew you'd have good thoughts on this. It's because like Americans had no idea just how bad Wrexham was. I mean, you're talking about 5th division, 4th division English soccer.
And how do you survive even?
And there's no comp in America. It would be like if a rookie league baseball team or like a Cape Cod summer team suddenly was bought by Ryan Reynolds and, like you said, had an airline as the sponsor, and now suddenly was just like moving up through the ranks and one day was going to be playing Major League Baseball. You'd be like, what the hell is going on here?
Right. And I mean, you saw in the documentary, and in fairness, they are very open about it. They didn't really hide very much. Remember, they relayed the surface of the field and it cost like $300,000.
Yeah.
And it was wrong, and they had to spend it again. And so they spent over $500,000 trying to get the field right. No other club in non-league football could have done that. Like nothing. And they, like I said, they exposed it, they showed it. And that's the difference. I just want an equal world, DA. I want it in the real world, and I want it in the sporting world. Just like everyone has a shot.
You want it in the real world because you're a dad now. And both you and I have this bond. We both had our first children last May. So we're coming up on.
You look great, by the way. You haven't got the bags or anything. Yeah. You look good. But it's the lighting. It's that bulb.
It's the bulb that's washing me out. The gray hairs that have come in, the bags under the eyes, the wrinkles. Just the other day, my wife is like, here's the sunblock you have to put on. Make sure you put it on. Did I remind you to put it on? I'm like, do I look that terrible these days? Okay, that's good to know. But you had your first child last May. So both you and I, our children are like a couple of days apart. How has year one been as daddy, now that the first birthday's coming up for your daughter?
It's been a joy for the most part. She's Roisin, my daughter, is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. Just making her laugh, DA. That's the one thing. Like guys spend most of their time in high school and in college trying to make women laugh, but when your daughter just is sat there and you're like Don Rickles and she cannot stop laughing at you. It's such a special thing. Like, you're a hero to her. But she's so funny. She's got such great personality. She like grabs out and waves at people randomly in the street. She's a very happy girl. And you know, I won't lie. The first 6 to 8 weeks, you're thinking, what have I done? What have I done? Mm-hmm. I've torpedoed my life.
That's right.
You know? But you know, you're up there, and I remember holding her one night, and I've got great regret about this, but I'm holding her and she's just bawling her eyes out, and I just looked at her and in the most psychotic way went, what is your problem? I don't know what's wrong with you. But once you get over that, once you get in on a sleep cycle, I think, and that's not true for everyone, because you've met parents, right, who've said, I haven't slept in 2 years.
Yeah,
They've got that 1,000-yard stare. She's not like that. She's down at 7 p.m., up at 7 a.m. She's like an old man. She's very good that way. But once you get over that period, and you can start taking the joy out of them, you see the little changes in them every day. There's something different about them, and it's amazing to sit on the sofa with her and watch football on a Saturday morning. Give her bottle, and you know, she's just sat there ripping farts. It's unbelievable. Can I say that? I can say that, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. She's just sat there and she laughs at them, and it's so funny. It's been great. How's it been for you?
Same type of trajectory. When we first had AJ and we brought him home, and it was really hard for him to sleep, he would only sleep in our arms. He would not sleep in a bassinet. So one of us had to be up at all hours of the night. So we would basically tag in. So my wife would take him until like midnight or 1. I would then wake up and set the alarm, go up to the nursery between 1 and 4 or 5. And I would just sit with him, he would sleep, and I would just watch movies on, you know, Netflix all night long. And then I'd be bleary eyed, and then she would tag in at 5 or 6. And it was just like, if I could get to 4:30, if I could get to 5, can I push it to 5:30? Then she has an extra half hour, so she's not as tired. Like, that was miserable. And I remember asking my friend, like, what is this? Like, how long do we have to do this? And he said to me, well, you know, they start turning a corner at after the first 3 months. And I was like, 3 months.
Yeah.
Every day was a war. Like, every day was like, how do you get through to the next day? And I thought 3 months is impossible. We'll never get to 3 months. Like, I'll die before 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
And then you look back, and a year has gone by, and every day gets easier, and every day gets better, and every day gets more enriching. And like you said, you see these little changes every single day. Yeah. And when you can make your child laugh, there's nothing like that laughter, not only because it's your child, but also a child's laughter is so much more like enthusiastic than any other laugh you'll ever hear from an adult. It's like that. It's like almost
pure, like it's
like the ringing of a bell or something. That laugh is so talk about intoxicating. Yeah. And it shakes you into this next level of, oh my God, this is so glorious. Every day is glorious. So I'm incredibly lucky as well, though, because AJ sleeps really well through the night. He's not a great napper. He does 1 nap a day. That afternoon nap, no go. He's not doing that. He's like, no, I got stuff to do, people to see. Okay, got it. But he's 7 to 7 pretty good consistently. So we love that.
Yeah, I love the way you were trying to sell that you were watching Netflix films. You had the music that he'll hear is the music from NFL films.
Oh, well, there's no doubt.
Because I know you're like,
there's no doubt. At a week old, he was absorbing 1987 Cleveland Browns highlights off of NFL films on YouTube. And there was definitely, I went through like the Mets video yearbooks on YouTube, like 85 through 91. I watched them like all in a row.
There's the good and the bad in there. Yeah. You're watching a team slowly fall apart.
That's right.
Oh, unbelievable.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's brilliant. And I will say one thing. You recalibrate a lot of things. Like you reconsider stuff. And now, like, you have ideas when you're younger about, oh, well, when I have a kid, I'll want it to be a doctor. I'll want it to be, you know, the running back for the Cleveland Browns or do whatever. Like, no, I actually don't care. As long as she's happy and healthy, do not care. Not bothered. Happy, healthy, not in any danger. That's it.
That's it. That's the two most important things. Happy and healthy, and everything else will figure itself out.
100%.
Well, dude, it's been too long, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and taking this much time of your Sunday night. I know the listeners of the D-Aliens have been clamoring for another JJ appearance, and they got it. And
have me on more. Work soccer more into it, right?
Well, what's great is that the Sunday night show, I answer to nobody. There's no boss that says, hey, stay on this topic or do this sport or make sure we get this guest in or make sure we do this. There's just like, I get to do whatever I want. So I love it. We can have 100%, you on.
And I can change light bulbs. I can do whatever little I'll come around, fix your sink, whatever needs to be done. Just, by the way, new podcast dropping, Caught Offside, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. Myself and Andrew will have a new one dropping tomorrow, as per usual, and another one on Thursday. So please join us.
Caught Offside podcast. If you're a soccer fan, they go through everything. They do everything, and they're really smart. Him and Andrew, JJ's been a friend of mine for a long time.
And he's smarter than me. So
and Andrew's excellent. Really, really excellent on everything. Like you said, iTunes, Spotify, and their social channels. Caught Offside Soccer Podcast. JJ, Andrew, they do an amazing job. Dude, so good to see you. Best of luck with the baby. Hopefully you have a wonderful first birthday coming up in a few weeks, and we'll exchange notes, okay?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And you're invited to the birthday.
Oh, where is it?
It's we're going to do it in the park near us in Brooklyn, Prospect Park. So, bring along a little projector and we'll watch game tape.
And have a few pints?
Yeah. Oh, well, obviously the stereotype.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Come on, Damon.
All right. JJ Devaney joining us here on the show. How cool is that, man? I love him to death, and you can see why. He's got such a smart way of thinking about things, and he assesses all of that stuff, soccer-wise, sports-wise, in a cool, really smart, bright manner. So, and he's hysterical. So JJ is one of the good dudes, and I appreciate him joining us on the show. So hopefully you enjoyed it. All right. Time now to get to a few of the photos from this week. And I told you guys last week, one of the things that I'm trying to introduce here to your world and mine, because I have a 1-year-old and because work can sometimes be a little zany. And, there's still an adjustment period for me at SiriusXM. I've been there now 7 months, and we're still building and climbing and building this thing as well. And every so often I need to detach. I need to disconnect. I need to put down the phone. And now that the warm weather is here, I've created something for myself, a mnemonic device, so that I remember to disconnect once a day. And that is the exhale cocktail. And I'm going out on the deck, and I'm going out to the lawn chair if needed, and I'm disconnecting my phone. If I take a photo of my drink, I'm quickly putting it on airplane mode and setting it aside. And I'm just having, hopefully, 1 drink per night. Sometimes it could be more like last night, but last night was a Saturday. So what are you going to do? Which some have noted, I sometimes have a cocktail on this. Today it's water. That might be the reason. There was a lot of basketball on last night, a lot of hockey on last night. I was watching a lot of NBA playoffs and Stanley Cup playoffs deep into the night. I was on baby duty for Mother's Day. I had my wife, the Bourbon Belle, go out, and it was on me. She went out with her friend. We put down the credit cards for them, and they got to go out and have a mom's night out, and the guys watched the babies. So I was in the basement. AJ was sleeping upstairs, and I said, you know what? Can I have a few beers? And then when the Bourbon Belle came home, and I knew that there was somebody else in the house along with me, I could really have a few beers. And so, 2 turned into like 7 or 8, and it was a good night. Anyway, so earlier this week, I went out to the deck, and I broke out for my exhale cocktail. Check this photo out. A Busch Light. That's right, a Busch Light. I was in the grocery store, and you guys know I love to fish. And they had this display up, and it was like a tackle box and a rushing stream and a case of Busch Light. And I was like, God, that looks good. And I really want to go fishing. And I didn't do much fishing last summer, if any, because we had the baby come. And I really miss getting the lines into the water. And I said, you know what? I'm going to buy this. And I bought this case of Busch Light, and I put it in my garage mini fridge. Now, I got a little mini fridge that tends to get really cold. I bought it off of Amazon for like $50, just so I have somewhere cold to stash beers in the summer when I come in from doing yard work, cutting the lawn, what have you. And I'm telling you, an ice cold Busch Light, I was blown away. I was like, this is shockingly delicious. I haven't had Busch Light definitely since college. And I cracked my first ice cold Busch Light in 20 years, garage beer, and Bill was like, whoa, I'm in. And then, of course, you crack it, and it's like, Busch beer. So now, great summer beer, keep it ice cold, crack it open on the deck, goes down smooth. That was my deck beer. That was my exhale cocktail. I snapped this photo on the deck chair, on the lawn chair. I swiped it into airplane mode. I sat it down, and I just relaxed. I just meditated, and it was beautiful. So I encourage you to do the same thing. We all need to disconnect every so often. Doing it with a cocktail or a beer, even better. All right, next up here on the show, we got Golden Grams. Let's do this here. Let's kick this thing off, as we always love to see what you guys are enjoying for some cocktails or some photos of your shenanigans. We love the aliens and all the craziness you guys get into. And so, Aidan, throw up our first one. Go full screen on this if you can, Aidan. If we can do full screen of this. This is Justin in Albany. He sent this to me last night. Justin in Albany, unbelievably loyal listener for so long. He's been at multiple Bob's Bar events. He made us the keychains for Bob's Bar events. He's so cool. He's getting married. And this was part of his bachelor party, I believe. They went out. I think this was a Flyers hockey game, because you can see the Flyers banners in the upper left-hand corner. They built this beer tower with their empty beer cans. Look at how great that beer tower is. I'm like, dude, Justin in Albany, get it. That is awesome. I said, that is fantastic. We're putting this up on the show tomorrow night. So one of the things I was doing is I was on the couch watching hockey and basketball last night, enjoying a few Labatt Blues, was DMing with Justin in Albany. And I was like, send me this picture. That's great. We're going to put this on the show. So that is awesome. Justin, we are sending you a Last Dive Bar trough t-shirt in honor of that tremendous beer can temple that you have built with your bare hands, much like the Egyptians. That will stand the test of time. Nice job. And a trough t-shirt is perfect for that. Next up, courtesy of the Last Dive Bar, we're giving away more t-shirts. Let's go full screen of this one as well. This is Kara in New Hampshire, who sent this to me on Instagram. Cleaning up toys can wait. It's hockey o'clock. She was watching some Stanley Cup playoffs, I think, today. This should be a Moosehead. I'm ashamed. She's a big Canadian beer drinker, she told me, and there she is with a Miller High Life. But that's amazing as well. You know, you're in a toy den. Look at all those toys all over the place. And here you are raising a beer, watching hockey. That's my type of mom right there. Happy Mother's Day to Kara in New Hampshire. And she's getting herself a Last Dive Bar Oakland Coliseum t-shirt. And she actually said on social media when I posted the video of this, she's like, those t-shirts are awesome. I said, yeah, they are. Last Dive Bar has cool swag, has amazing stuff. So there you go. They're a couple of winners, and that's just from the Golden Grams. If we have any more, you feel free to throw them up there, Aidan. If not, we'll just go on to Q&DA. But like we always tell you, whatever you got that you're drinking or enjoying, you can send it to us via social media, or you can send it to us on email, watchdalive@gmail.com. All right, let's go full screen of this one as well. We got another winner. Kristen in Buffalo. Look at this. This week's Golden Gram, a local Buffalo brew from Thin Man Brewery. Was that Penguin Wrangler? And a new recipe, honey garlic chipotle salmon. Oh, God, that sounds great. Asparagus, crispy potatoes, A+ Sunday night, as always. Hanging out. Look, she's got the show on. Check that out. Watch DA Live in the background on that large screen TV, a smart TV on the wall. Now, that's a good night. Kristen in Buffalo, beautiful. I love that. That sounds amazing. She's a great cook. She's cooked it for the show before. You can follow her at Particular Plates on Instagram for all of her recipes. That sounds delicious. Kristen in Buffalo, we're sending you a t-shirt as well and a wristband, courtesy of the Last Dive Bar. Love you guys so much. You guys are holding it down for us on lockdown in Buffalo. And we have to have that quadrant taken care of, because you guys know how to party with the folding tables. Also, incredible view this summer of the totality of the eclipse and Aurora Borealis the other night. I didn't even see it, but Aurora Borealis happened, and I think Western New York got like an unbelievable show. I was looking at pictures all over the country, green, purple. Like I wish I would have seen this, but a lot of people said that they couldn't really see with the naked eye. They could only see it with their phones. So maybe I could have seen it had I just gone outside and snapped the photo, but I think I missed it. I think I was late to the party because I was on social media. I think I was on Twitter on Friday night at like 11. Everyone's like, yeah, that was awesome. I said, what was awesome? Around 10:20, Aurora Borealis. I was like, where was I? All right, time now for a little Q&DA. Let's do this, Aidan. Cue me up. What do we have here? The comments coming in fast and furious all night long. Aidan is our executive producer and our Marquette Marvel in-house. What we got, buddy?
Good evening, DA. Happy Mother's Day. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom upstairs. And I'll wait till our number one best Q&DA of the night for a mother-baby related question. But I'm with you. I love this comedian run we've been on. And Ivan mentioned how you send memes of, comedy and whatever to your family. That's my mom to a T. So love you, Mom. You send it to your family if you want it. I wanted to start Q&DA.
And you're at your parents' house because you were spending time with her earlier today, right? For Mother's Day. That's why you're producing tonight from her house.
We did. We had brunch today, and I know you did as well with you and yours. So it's just the perfect time. Sunday, you get a little afternoon brunch in. It's a good excuse to have an exhale cocktail on a Sunday.
That's exactly right. I had myself a cider mosa today. I went to a cidery that we have locally, this place called Pennings. It's amazing. They make their apple orchards. So they make their own cider, and they add orange juice to it. So it's like a mimosa, but it's a little sweeter because it's like a cider, but it's made on premises. Had 2 of those. I was nice.
Love that. So for this week, I will go from a Furious 5-ish countdown from 5 to 1.
Okay.
What I'm grading very subjectively as the best Q&DAs of the evening. I want to start at number 5 as kind of a collective. Your Utah Yeti segment really garnered some great recommendations. So I'll just rip through these really fast and I'll end on a high note. Zach says that Sean Marash is the Yeti. we got Utah Jazzercise, which might be my favorite. What about the Utah Grand Tetons? The Utah Urinals, maybe in honor of baseball's last dive bar. The Utah Sister Wives.
Okay.
The Utah Woolly Mammoths. What about
the Utah Mammoths is one of the possibilities.
Yep. And what about the Utah Arches?
Okay.
Utah Monuments, lots of national parks.
Right.
And finally, the Utah Elks. So those are all the ones I got. I put the bat signal into the chat. I said, keep these coming because I know I thought it'd be a great little Q&DA idea. So from all those, does one of them stick out?
Oh, the Jazzercise obviously sticks out. I really like the Utah Jazzercise as a hockey team. If it wasn't, so I have to adjust what I said because I thought the Utah Yeti was the ultimate. And if it wasn't the Utah Yeti because it didn't get voted in or because the Avalanche once upon a time had a Yeti mascot 25 years ago and you couldn't do that, I thought B-related was next up. You had to do something B-related. But now I learned that the AAA team is the Bees. So now I don't know. Now I'm kind of up in the air. So I think the Mammoths actually could be cool because, again, you're talking about a very captivating potential logo, a really cool sweater crest. I could imagine a lot of cool stuff with the Mammoth. Now, the only thing is I believe there's a lacrosse team called the Mammoth. If I'm not mistaken, maybe Denver, maybe Colorado. I could be wrong on that, but I think there's a Mammoth out there. So you'd like to have something that's completely original, but the woolly mammoths or the mammoths I could get down with because there's something about that's a little Yeti-ish that I could get down with.
We're cross-referencing all these lacrosse and minor league baseball teams. You get educated in the DA Deep Dive comments about Hey, DA. Oh, you actually didn't realize that there's a minor league cricket team that has a name. We can't do it in the same market. Sorry. So I love that education point as well. All right. We'll go to, it's not necessarily a golden gram. It was just a comment, but I think it's worth a mention as part of Q&DA. Donna writes in, DQ cheeseburger, fries, peach blizzard, and cherry misty while watching the Facebook Live.
Oh my God, it's awesome. Oh, I wish I had a picture of that. A DQ cheeseburger, fries, a peach blizzard, and a cherry misty while watching the show tonight. Donna, I am absolutely giving you a t-shirt. We have to give a Last Dive Bar t-shirt to Donna. That sounds phenomenal. That I don't think I've ever had a peach blizzard, and I don't know if I've ever had a cherry misty, but adding those together on a summer night on Mother's Day, forget it. That's a great night. I love it. And she's watching on Facebook Live as she eats a delicious meal like that on Mother's Day night. Love it.
Yeah, it had to be thrown in there. Have you had the peach milkshake from Chick-fil-A as a reference?
No, I have had their milkshakes before. I've had a vanilla milkshake, and I think there was a honey something one that I think my wife got that I tried. Now they're vanilla milkshakes, but that's really like an ice cream sundae. It is so thick and so rich and delicious. I've never had a peach shake before.
That's their summer specialty. Just like and this is also actually word to my mom because she loves both of these. The peppermint milkshake from Chick-fil-A in the wintertime. Once you get to the summer, they throw out the peach a lot. You'll see it on one of these. I'm sure the NBA will run this ad right in between the Wingstop ad and the What a Pro Wants, What a Pro Wants.
Exactly right. Yeah, those run on loop. That's right.
Yeah, so you'll see this in the summer rotation. All right, next up, a loyal D-Alien Billy writes in off of our interview with Ivan Decker. There was a little Torg Bellinger reference in there, and he said that Torg is a gentleman and a scholar. So there are a lot of D-Aliens in the chat that, brought back Torg when your conversation with Ivan came.
This is why this Sunday night show is amazing, is because for those that know, you can make all these inside references in real time and everybody gets the joke. If you don't know, you get to get educated in the history of the DA show. Once upon a time, our former producer, Kenny Brock, huge Eagles fan, didn't believe in Nick Foles and proclaimed on the PGP podcast, if the Eagles win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, I will literally eat crow. And we said, literally? Yes, you find crow, I will eat it. They won the Super Bowl. I had to hunt down crow. I didn't know where to go. I went everywhere. I went to Chinatown. I was going online. I was trying to find it. I had to ask somebody in my hometown who was a hunter, do you know how I could get crow? And this guy put me in contact with somebody upstate, this old dude. His name was Torg Bellinger. It still goes down in history as one of the most memorable bits ever on the show, interviews, moments, because this guy sent me crow in a box in styrofoam, and we made it on the show. And we had him on the show. I made it in a crock pot, and then we had Kenny taste it, and it was disgusting, slimy, black, gross. But before we had him on, before we had the crow taste test, we had to have Torg Bellinger on, and he was such a kook. He was like so crazy and weird, but he had this subversive sense of humor. So when Ivan Decker was saying that one Thanksgiving, his uncle shot a wild goose or Christmas, and they had to pick buckshot out of their teeth as they were eating the goose, it reminded the D-Aliens of Torg Bellinger and the crow. So it's true, Torg, gentleman and a scholar, or neither. And that's a great deep dive reference by the D-Aliens. That's why we do this Sunday show.
Great deep dive. You know that the library is long, and none of these D-Aliens forget a single thing. So we'll keep you honest if you miss a reference, if you make one minor mistake, they'll be on you. So that's why we love doing this. All right, the penultimate Q&DA comes from Curtis, who asked a really pointed question. It might not necessarily have, been in touch with what we were doing tonight, but he simply asked, what is your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie?
It's Reservoir Dogs, because it started everything. And I still think there is an element of Tarantino there where he didn't know how big he was going to become. And those early projects of guys that don't know what it's eventually going to be. There's something special about that. I think once you became super famous and super successful, you begin to lose a little bit, to me, of the. I tend to think you start playing to type. I think you start playing the hits. You start doing things that the audience wants versus challenging yourself to do something totally new. I generally like Tarantino. There's some stuff that's a little too unnecessarily gory. I loved Kill Bill. I really, really liked Kill Bill. But I just think, like, if you ask me my favorite Spike Lee movie, it's Do the Right Thing. Because there is just something there that is his true essence. This is what's in my heart, what's in my head. I'm going to make this, and success be damned. I think for Spielberg, it's Jaws. It's like, how do you ever top Jaws? And Spielberg's done amazing, amazing things for a long time, but he didn't know that would be big, and he didn't know he'd become Spielberg. So there's a different element to that. And so I think Tarantino, same way. I'd go Reservoir Dogs. I'd have to really look at the full list. I don't have it right off the top of my brain, but I might put Kill Bill too. A lot of people love Pulp Fiction. I think it's fine. I was never a huge Pulp Fiction guy, but I do generally like most Tarantino films. Yeah, I do usually like most of them.
The Aliens, I just threw an alley-oop, and you just got the slam dunk of all slam dunks, getting a film/TV/pop culture take out of DA. What really pointed, it gives you a full list. It reminds me of like when people would call up Jody Mack and give me your top five songs from the artist. That's what we got. That was great.
I'll have to look at the full IMDb because I'm sure I'm missing a few that I might stack in the top three, but
yeah, we'll get it in the comments here in about 2 seconds. All right, last one, and then I'll get out of here. It's from our loyal D-Alien, Timbo Slice. Best comment I saw of the night. Final one for all the marbles. Who would win in a baby race? JJ Devaney's kid or AJ? And don't have Pete the Body Bellotti watch.
It's a great question. See, I haven't seen video of Roisin. She is adorable, and I've seen pictures of her on JJ's Instagram. I don't know how agile she is. JJ is pretty agile. He plays pickup soccer. But I've seen AJ in person, and my God, this guy hustles. And it took him a little bit longer than some other kids to crawl. He couldn't get the mobility down of one arm goes forward, the right arm goes forward, and then the left knee goes forward. Then you got to switch. So he was like in place. He couldn't quite get that. So it took him a little longer. And then once he got it, it was full steam ahead. Now, if he's got like a 5-foot jump head start, he probably can beat me to the corner. He could probably beat me to the wall. Like, he just puts his head down. It's like, boom, I'm going. So he's got speed. Now, you'd have to entice him with something. Now, that might be a bottle. It might be some like puffs. He loves these little fruit puffs that you put, the little Gerber organic fruit puffs, something like that. If you put a remote control on the other side of the room, he wants that remote control. So if I put a remote control at the door and I gave him a 5-foot head start, he beats me to the wall. So I'm going to say AJ, but again, I have not scouted Roisin. I don't know. I haven't scouted, but I would put my money on AJ. And is he going to be an athlete? I don't know. My she was a cheerleader for years and years and years. And like one of those very athletic, you could flip her a million miles in the air, like not scared, flexible, athletic. Like, she's got a very athletic build. I was never great at sports, but I always was coordinated enough to figure it out. Will he be a great athlete? I don't know, but he's kind of like, he's got pretty good athletic legs. Like, he's got a very strong lower base, which makes him hustle. Like, if he wants to go, he can plant and move. So I'm going to put my money on AJ right now.
You're like a good coach. You're throwing confidence behind your starting QB. He may be a rookie. You haven't seen film yet. The draft just happened less than a year ago, but you're throwing confidence behind him. I like it.
That's right. All right. So is that the number one comment? Does Timbo win the T-shirt then?
he wins the T-shirt. That's a
Okay.
great one. Best
All right.
one I saw of the night.
All right, right on. Timbo Slice, congratulations. You're getting yourself a Last Dive Bar t-shirt once again and a Last Dive Bar wristband. Once again, I'll be out in Oakland on June the 7th. I'll be flying into town the 6th. 7th is the reverse protest, reverse boycott. We're going into the stadium, going to do a Watch DA live show beforehand at a bar, which is so cool. If you're going to be in the Bay Area, okay, I want you to come out and hang out with us if you're going to be out there beforehand as well. We are coming to invade Line 51. This is a brewery in Oakland. It's at 303 Castro Street. Line 51. They are super thrilled to have us there. We're going to do a pregame show, Watch DA Live. If you can't be out in the Bay Area, obviously you can watch it right here, same way. So it'll be a Saturday afternoon/evening if you're on the East Coast. Not sure the times yet. I'll keep you posted. But if you're in the area, please come out, say hello, or come to the game, say hello. I'll be all around the ballpark. I can't wait. Having beers, watching baseball. I've never been to the Coliseum, so this is going to be awesome. And thank you to the Last Dive Bar. Please, if you don't win a T-shirt or you want to buy maybe a gift for Dad for Father's Day or just somebody in your life or yourself, please support them. LastDiveBar.com. They've got really cool merch. They were the first ones to say, I love what you guys are doing. I want to be part of it. And so we love them for that type of support. LastDiveBar.com is where you can get all their stuff. And they're banging the drum for supporting Oakland sports in the Bay Area and any fan base that has lost a team due to relocation, new owners, what have you, can get behind this group. They're like, we're not going down without a fight. You know, the Columbus Crew saved the Crew because fan swell of a support happened in Columbus, Ohio. They're awesome, and I love them very much, and I appreciate them being part of this whole journey with us here at Watch DA Live. Let's go full screen on that here, Aidan, just so everybody can see the text a little bit clearer. It's Damon, Bruce, and myself. He's a Bay Area sportscast legend. We're doing Line 51. We're invading June the 7th, noon until 3 Pacific time, so that'll be 3 until 6 East Coast, and live broadcast right here. Can't wait to do it. And I'm just super thrilled. I'm a lucky dude. I'm a blessed guy. I try to pass it on because I just feel so fortunate to have all you guys in my corner. And I hope that I can support you. However, you guys need to be supported as well. All right, we're going to end on this note, okay? I was thinking about this today. There are just some photos that come across my timeline that I just get entranced by. And they're usually sports photos. And for me, they become a little bit of a zen because I just sit there and I stare at it and I start imagining things. And I thought this might be a cool way to end off our Sunday shows. We'll always have momentous Monday moments as well when they pop up in sports or momentous moments of the week in honor of Little Mo. But tonight I wanted to end with a sports moment of zen, okay? And I want to throw up this picture on Mother's Day. Check this photo out. This is Ricky Henderson and his mom when Ricky broke the all-time steals record, actually, ironically enough, in Oakland. So, Aidan, let's go full screen on this because there is so much about this photo that I love. First of all, it's Mother's Day, and so this is so perfect. Here's Ricky in his grandest moment, and Ricky's always been known as this pretty egocentric guy that spoke about himself in the third person. And he just adored his mom, absolutely adored his mom, brought her so many places when he would break records or when he won the World Series in '89. She's in the locker room. There's a great picture of him hugging his mom from behind, and he's like draped all over her. Like he is in love with his mom. And here she is on the field when he breaks this record. It is also, look at how cool this photo is. It is the old Oakland Coliseum before they built that second deck. So the outfield, people forget how cool the Coliseum was for baseball. Had that grass knoll and trees at the back. I mean, I always loved that aesthetic of 70s and 80s baseball where like you could see the palm trees at the Orange Bowl in Miami when Marino's throwing a pass, or the old no-name defense of the 70s, or Larry Zonka's run of the football, or in this case, old Oakland Coliseum had trees and grass. And you think about it as like a big toilet bowl now, a big cement toilet bowl that's rotting from the inside. And God bless Last Dive Bar because they're embracing it. But this is before the Raiders came back. And when the Raiders came back, Al Davis demanded a whole deck be built so that it was a football coliseum, and they ruined all of that. And so people wonder why A's fans didn't go to the ballpark as much anymore. Well, they ruined it as a baseball stadium. I also think that this era of baseball is so glorious, that 80s, early 90s, and of course I'm biased because this is my era when I'm growing up, but I'm thinking about these stars that seem to transcend, like Ricky Henderson, crouching, taunting the pitcher, stealing second, stealing third, snapping his fingers. He was so effervescent, and he was one of many that seemed to make baseball so important. That team, that A's team, had Canseco and McGuire and Ricky Henderson, amongst others. But you also had monsters, Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, Don Mattingly, Kirby Puckett, Robin Younton, Paul Molitor. You had all these guys that just felt so important that you had to watch those at bats. You had to see their starts. You had to watch a Dennis Eckersley come in for the final 3 outs. You had to watch a Nolan Ryan start, Bo Jackson, even Dion. These guys seem to be larger than life. And that was an era of baseball that was so captivating to me. And I'll always remember that as a golden age. And so I saw this photo, I just started gazing into it going, I could look at this photo forever. And I want to bring that to this show. We're going to end off with Sports Zen. One photograph to just stare at and admire and think about, like, the context of it, and just like get warped back into a different place. Is what makes sports beautiful and amazing, is that a photo like that can take you to a totally different place. All right, that's going to do it for us. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I am so thankful for my mom and my wife, for the type of mom that she is, and my mother-in-law as well. And I know you guys are so thankful for your moms as well, for Aidan's mom and everybody's mom out there that's been listening and tuning into the show. Thank you guys for being part of this every single Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We do this. Make sure you follow this YouTube channel. If you're not already, go to YouTube, hit at Damon Amendo. Make sure you hit subscribe. That way you get notifications when we do these live shows, or there's a new DA deep dive or another video that is out. We'll pull a lot of the best of these shows, posted there as well. So you always get full clips and ways to, kind of relive maybe something that you missed. You couldn't watch the whole thing. You can check it out there. That'll do it for us on this Sunday night. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm DA, Damon Amendolara. I'll see you tomorrow morning on SiriusXM Channel 82. It's the DA Show with Babchick, weekday mornings beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. For now, the mothership disconnects.